Hello world, Christian Truther here. Got another video for you today. Part 5 of my series about the shape of the world. Is it round or is it flat? And can we determine objective truth about it? Truth that's true regardless of what we think about it. And I hope you guys are coming here looking for truth with open minds, willing to take a look at things in an open, honest fashion. Now, real quick, some housekeeping. These are my rules. The top two are my promise to you, and the bottom two are what I'm going to hold you guys accountable to in the comment section. Please treat each other with respect. We're all human beings, and we'll do something because of that. So no insults or anything like that. Also, as always, this is unscripted, and I'm not using cuts and green screen or anything like that because I don't believe that my arguments need it. Now, we are going to be looking at arguments from the flat and round earth side. We're going to aim them at each other. Now, today's topic is curvature. If curvature is real, then what will we expect to see? Now, from the flat earth perspective, the earth does not curve, it's flat, and everything is flat on it. I mean, yes, you've got mountains and hills and everything like that, but it's all in a planar existence. Of course, according to the globe earth model, everything curves, and especially bodies of water. And this is important because being a liquid, you would expect with gravity being in place that all bodies of water would curve, no matter how small. But let's talk about how small that works out to. So the Earth average curvature is 8 inches per mile squared, meaning the more miles you're looking down, the bigger the curvature would expect to be. Now, that's the average. I say average because they also said that the world is a slightly bulging sphere, so at certain places in the Earth it's more than 8, and some it's a little less than 8. It's about 8 though, so let's just go with that. But that means in a 6-foot bathtub you'd only be seeing 0.0000015 degrees. About that much curvature. That's way too small. What about a 100-foot pool? 0.00025 degrees. We're talking like a micron. You would never be able to detect that even with a laser in a perfectly level day because you can't see a micron. So we're talking about an incredibly small distance of curvature over those bodies of water. What we need is something much bigger, right? Now, just to also give you an idea with the Earth average 8 inches per mile squared, if you could walk on water like Jesus, you would start to lose a bobber floating in the water about 3.1 miles away. If you could possibly see a bobber from 3.1 miles away, which you probably couldn't, but you would start losing the ability to see that bobber after 3.1 miles according to the globe earth model. Alright? So, I want to introduce us to the Frying Pan Tower. Frying Pan Tower is found off the coast of South Carolina, and I'll explain why I'm introducing you to it shortly here. But please note the very distinctive shape to it. Also, this is the Carnival Pride. The Carnival Pride is a cruise ship that's back in 2016, early 2016. We had the joy and privilege of being able to go on that cruise ship and take our very first cruise as a family. It was before my son was born, but it was such a great trip. We left out of Baltimore and got to go to the Bahamas, and it was just a fantastic time. I'm setting the stage here, obviously. Here's us at our stateroom deck, about deck 8. It's a Spirit class cruise ship, so you could take a look at that if you'd like. But you're going to see evidence that we were about 80 feet off of the surface of the water, give or take a few feet. It's going to be, I mean, it's a little difficult to determine, but about, I'm assuming again, about 10 feet per deck. And then plus my viewing height is going to be about 6 foot tall. Not sure why the 8 is cut off there, but it is. Anyway, let's get right down to the video at hand. Alright, so there is the Frying Pan Tower. When I first saw it, I have to admit, I thought it was an oil rig. Come to find out, you're not actually allowed to drill off the east coast of the United States. So when we left for Baltimore, I was standing at my balcony in my stateroom, panning around looking for interesting stuff. And I had a 38x optical zoom camera at my disposal, and that's how I took this video. So I was able to calculate the distance away from where I was to this place based off of the known height of the tower, which is 80 feet, the known size of my image sensor, and the known pixel count of the object on the sensor. You can use that, if you know the focal range and everything that of your camera, you can use that to determine distance away. If you know all the other variables, which I do, I know everything about the camera because I can look it up, and I know how high it is, the frying pan tower is, because I can look that up. So therefore, I can determine distance away. We're about 17.5 miles. It came out to 17.497, so forgive me if I'm going to say 17.5. But that was the distance away from my camera that this was. Now my observational height is about 86 feet. Eighth deck, so about 10 foot per deck, and plus my my personal height. The bottom deck was not quite at ocean level. You could still see out the viewports that there was a little bit of distance to the water. That was the bottom deck that passengers could get to. There were a couple more decks below that. You can just, like I said, you can check out Spirit class cruise ships on your own. I'm not going to go any more detail of that. But if the world is round, then we expect the bulge to hide about 16 feet. That's with refraction. It's about 25 feet without refraction. But regardless, this structure down here, basically, we're not going to be able to see. Now, I'm going to go back to that video here. We're going to see if we can see this at all. So this is an experiment we're running. Can we see this stuff? And can we see this stuff? Now this is a lot thinner than this, so yes, I would be expecting to see this. The posts are thinner on the support struts. So let's take a look at that video again. Oh, I messed up. Sorry guys. Do this one more time. And there it is. Yes, we can see the stuff underneath. We can't see any of the stuff at the very bottom. Now, you could argue, I'm going to show you the rest of the shot that I took, because I was zoomed out about 38x optical. That's my beautiful wife. We were just enjoying the time. I'm going to actually aim it down and see how far off the water I am. I'm actually, at this point, I'm looking for dolphins. We were followed by dolphins out of the port, and that was a really cool experience. I didn't see any this time. But anyway, that gives you a bit of an idea of how high up we are and what I was seeing out there at 17.5 miles away. And the frying pan tower was invisible at below a certain point. And it wasn't a mirage because the struts angle out, and they continue to angle out. If it had been a mirage, they would have curved back in to mirror the image. No, something was blocking my view, and the water's fairly calm. What was that? It had to have been water, but we don't see any wave action. But you know what? There was some surface haze. I admit it, it's not a perfect photo or video. It's one that I took though. But let's see if we can find someone who had a much better day and see what they come up with. So here he is on a beach, a bit on a dune. You can see he is aiming down, and he sees something out in the distance. So let's see what it is. That is a cargo container ship. He's gonna zoom in a little bit more, and I'm gonna bring that up for you. But that is a cargo container ship, and you can't see any of the bottom hull. You can see the water right up to it. You can also see that the water is not choppy. Let's continue watching this for just a few more seconds. No surface haze. Masts floating up out of the water. This is absolute proof that the world is round because water does curve. It's very difficult to see because it's such a big planet. We're talking 24,000 miles in circumference, but that is what it is. The world is round, and that is the truth. I believe the Bible is correct when it says the truth will set you free. So please, realize what the truth is, and join me next time for another video, which is going to be closer to a week away. I do, at various points, I'm a musician, and I have some concert cycles that eat up a whole bunch of my time. And that's true this time. So I'm going to be taking a hiatus probably about 4 or 5 days before I post another video. So just bear with me, but we will come back. I've got another, I already have another video planned, and I hope you guys are going to like it. But until then, this is Christian Truther, signing out.